Fundraising calendars are so helpful. I recently did a training on fundraising calendars that was 2 hours long, and honestly, we could have continued talking about them for another 2 hours. But I'm going to give you a brief overview of fundraising calendars, and you have some exercises in your handout and a template you can download and use as well. So, what is a fundraising calendar? It's a calendar version of your fundraising plan, which really just means it's a tool for implementing your fundraising plan. A fundraising calendar helps you plan out your fundraising activities, especially to ensure that fundraising activities are spread out enough to where you can complete them all. They can also help you plan the timing of your activities to ensure that you have enough money in the bank. A fundraising calendar can also serve as documentation of fundraising activities. That way, while planning next year, you have a robust history of what has and hasn't worked. This is an example of a fundraising calendar, which is included as a template. As you can see, this fundraising calendar shows the internal due date, the funder's due date, the funder, their contact information, the amount that you're going to be requesting from the funder, what the request is for, who from your organization is responsible for completing the activities, any next steps, notes, the date it was submitted, the outcome, whether it was pending, approved, denied, and the funding actually raised. It's important that whatever your fundraising calendar ends up looking like, it works for you. Don't include a ton of extra columns that you don't need, but be sure that anything you want to keep track of is included. To create a fundraising calendar, there are a few steps that the worksheet will walk you through. But before even thinking about your fundraising calendar, it's important to identify your goals and opportunities. This is similar to the exercise we completed around identifying your needs. Knowing how much you're trying to raise and the strategies you will use to raise that money is important. Then determine the purpose of your fundraising calendar. There are so many different uses for a fundraising calendar, but what are you realistically going to use it for? Will it be a shared document with your fundraising team to track who needs to do what? Will it be a calendar you share with the board to show what you will be doing each month to meet your fundraising goals? Is this something that you want to track outcomes on? Similarly, what strategies will you use this fundraising calendar for? Some organizations only use their calendar for grants, while others focus on events, etc. If you have a CRM system, you may not need to include individual donors or members on the spreadsheet, but you may decide you want to remind yourself of monthly activities to complete for your membership program. Determine what you will use the fundraising calendar for. And then figure out what information you'll want to include on your spreadsheet. There are a ton of options, but choose what will be most valuable information for you. On the worksheet, I've listed some examples of things commonly included on fundraising calendars to help you think this through. After figuring out the purpose of your fundraising calendar and what it will include, you can start setting up your spreadsheet. If you have a ton of activities for several strategies, your spreadsheet may include several tabs, one for grants, one for events, one for online campaigns, etc. Or you can have separate tabs for different months. Whatever will work best for you and your team. It may take a little bit of testing before you determine what format you like the best. Once you have your spreadsheet set up, you can start filling in the things that you know. If you do an end-of-year giving campaign or annual event, there are things you can start filling in. You can also include relevant holidays or observances. For example, if you're a health organization and the National Asthma and Allergy Awareness Month is important to you and your fundraising, you can include that on your calendar. After finding grant opportunities, we will also be using this calendar to schedule when to apply for which grants, if you use the calendar for grants, which I highly recommend.